many groups, you know, for LGBT communities, from immigrant communities, Native Americans, all of these different types of people that have been insulted and put on notice by Donald Trump, definitely has something to say back.
Flames burn bright and hot. The smell of sage is intense and surrounds the first 2 rows of onlookers on the steps of Los Angeles City Hall. It's the night after the election. Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States. Protesters chant and dance. The president-elect is burned in effigy. Hundreds of protesters exercise their First Amendment rights in anger.
And sometimes some of those protests got a little interesting. At one of the protests, they made piñatas of Donald Trump and they burned him. You know, I see Donald Trump's head on a stake. So this is what people were feeling, you know. I guess, you know, people were mad. People were mad that he's president, and I think also people are afraid to say, what does the future hold?
Weeks later, a different type of protest unfolds in the artist community at Los Angeles City College. Artists from VAMA, the Visual and Media Arts Department, transformed the chemistry building into a space for protest art created by students. Art professors organized a panel called Now is the Time. They hope to ease students' fears about a Trump presidency.
I think it is a timely event that prepare people for the presidency of Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump, unlike other political leaders in the past, he normally does not subscribe to what we call the political correctness or the norms of what we believe to be civilized political behavior.
I don't know how that's going to affect us. How is that going to affect us? Like, what's going to happen?
They created a forum to address students' fears.
My parents are illegal immigrants, yes. So when I heard that Trump got elected, I felt very horrible about it because I didn't know what would happen to my parents. They have been there for me all this time, and they're my heroes.
Are you going to install your piece?
Yeah, we're trying.
Oh, cool. You're trying to look for a spot? Yeah. Oh, awesome. What is it called? Trump Tower. Trump Tower. It's like you're unfurling a flag. Oh, man, that fits.
Trump has already come out and said his major concern with deportations is people who have committed crimes, and I don't really have a problem with criminals not living in my neighborhood. So as far as friends and neighbors who are here, who are immigrants, I don't really see that as being a problem on a large scale.
Take one, pass it on, make sure you have one, and then I will set up for the test, okay, for the practice.
It was very upsetting for me because I come from a Mexican background, and hearing about what Trump said about Mexicans, how people who come from Mexico are rapists, uneducated thieves, burglars, it's stereotyping like a lot of us.
Stereotypes that frustrate and anger students. They push back with art.
it reminds me of Anne Frank and the Holocaust. The idea of just scapegoating others. I think it's incredibly scary.
Crystal Perez uses layers of photographs, videos, and front-page news events.
I like to play with surveillance and violence because I think it's not really talked about, even though it keeps occurring.
Artist George Summers surveys the political landscape. He sees different symbols emerging and uses them to create art for the show.
You know, we often like to think of the eagle as, you know, just a very unique symbol of, you know, American and, you know, democracy. But the interesting thing is, you know, the eagle's also present in a lot of Nazi. You know, the Nazi eagle can be seen in all sorts of paraphernalia, designs on clothing. Right now, I worry that we're kind of in the midst of a new, you know, kind of toxic ideological movement. It's first seen with Putin, who's the very left, but then it was further seen this last June, or maybe it was July, with Nigel Farage, who is the leader of the Brexit movement in Britain, and both played a major, you know, role in influencing finally Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, when our president-elect says things that are like really hurtful to women, then it allows other people to feel that they can see those things without any, you know, recourse. And so then it kind of amps up this feeling of fear of, you know, am I going to be attacked? What are people going to say about me?
Calling women pigs and fat and just demeaning them. So it's not so much that he scares me, but his supporters scare me. So that's the main. That was kind of like the fear that came out of it.
Gronk is a world-renowned artist, a Chicano painter, printmaker, and performance artist. His work has been shown in galleries and museums around the world, including the Smithsonian.
So, this evening's presentation, a panel discussion, I have reservations about it at the beginning, but when I heard the students and kind of their I don't know, their fear coming out. I think that's kind of what a lot of it is all about. It's a fear of the unknown. As an artist, I love the unknown. That's where I want to be, really.
Dr. Kadogo Kennedy trains teachers at the USC Rossier School of Education. Her focus, the nexus of race, class, and gender in the educational setting.
I really appreciate the opportunity to engage so many diverse thoughts, even some that I don't particularly agree with. But it's so important for us to exchange ideas and just be empathetic and hear what other people have to say.
More than 200 people fill the lecture hall at the event. Some students sit with their parents and siblings. They meet to express frustration after the general election. The artists use their craft to work through fear and angst. Art professors call on a psychologist and an immigration attorney for information. Some families worry about mass deportation.
There's mayors of Los Angeles, New Mexico, San Francisco, here in Los Angeles, we've got Eric Garcetti, who is vowing to keep LA safe.
LA City College President Renée Martinez reassures students about her commitment to their privacy.
We're also here to make you feel safe, that our college is a safe haven for you, and that we want to provide to you all the resources that you need to go on.
Panel member Camille Goulet teaches law and administration of justice. She tells attendees after 9/11 there were demands for students' records by the federal government. Under both state and federal law, students are entitled to know that somebody has made a demand for their records unless a court orders otherwise.
I think you should feel a little reassured, at least, that the college has the utmost respect for student privacy rights and your rights to see your records, and our responsibility to protect those rights.
But student privacy was not always a priority at LA City College. A recent front-page editorial in Campus News, the student newspaper at East Los Angeles College, recalls the story. The personal information of 4,000 ESL students, including ID numbers and email addresses, were turned over to a book publisher in India in 2011. Jamila Moore was president, and Camille Goulet was general counsel for the LACCD.
We filed Freedom of Information Act with the district, and the information and the documents we got from the district were so irrelevant to what we requested that it was pretty much ridiculous. We couldn't use any of those documents, and sometimes we would just receive pages and pages of emails and files where we just repeated over and over again. And we saw the amount of money she was trying to charge students, and that the information that students, the private information was uploaded, students' private information was uploaded on the website that was sent to India. So there was like a lot of interesting information, pretty much I would say related to that case, that kind of helped us to understand what actually happened.
It was all documented in the pages of the LA Collegian, the student voice of LA City College. A department chair and 5 faculty staff members released the information in violation of Title V and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA.
I hope that it kind of helps students understand that their information was not safe, probably not as safe as their personal information was not as safe as they expected.
Well, thank you very much, President Obama. This was a meeting.
It is cause for worry. The Trump administration is already asking for names and lists of employees at the Department of Energy who support climate change. Could undocumented students be next?
I've got people who've been here since they were days old and who are now being told, if you don't like it, leave. This is their country, and it's important it's important for all of us, especially for them, to understand that. They have the legitimate right to stay here at home, both legal and moral, and I think all of us need to uphold that.
There were hard questions on a campus with a liberal bias, but organizers made sure students would hear other ideas and perspectives.
Is William Torres in the room? Oh, there he is.
Liberal turned conservative Howard Hyde says the Obama administration wasted an opportunity in 2009. He says the president failed to work with Republicans on immigration reform. Hyde is the author of the book Escape from Berkeley, From Liberal to Conservative.
There is a great deal of goodwill on the right, perhaps more than you're aware of, from organizations like the Cato Institute, libertarian think tank in Washington, D.C., the Wall Street Journal editorial page, editorial board. These are not Democrat institutions, obviously, but they have been for years, and to this day, they are highly favorable to a liberalization of immigration law.
Well, I had an assignment to go interview some Republicans around LACC to hear their side of the story, and unfortunately I couldn't find any of these Republicans here, and I wasn't satisfied with some of the answers some students gave me, so I had to do some research and found that USC had a Republican club.
Many worry about the future. Will the new administration interfere with women's reproductive rights? What will ultimately happen to Obamacare and LGBT rights?
I think Donald Trump in general may be more moderate on gay issues. Mike Pence, I've heard a lot of things that are worrisome. I'm gay myself, so I am concerned. I am concerned with the whole transgendered law that was passed in North Carolina. So there, again, it's marginalizing of minorities, and thank God we have a Constitution that protects all of us.
There's a different alchemy here. It's the 86-year-old chemistry bill. Chemistry students left for newer digs years ago. Earth science too. Criminal justice came and went, along with philosophy and psychology students. Now the place is crawling with creatives.
The name of it is Blame the Change, Change the Blame. And general theme behind it was as part of a series of the 7 deadly sins.
Downstairs, photographers recede into the darkroom. They tend to their digital images in the basement lab. But artists rule the hallways here now, and they are saying it loud. Their work stares back in the hallways and from the stairwells. In a corner on the second floor, the journalists are the oldest tenants, watching over the place since 1929.
Well, the most important issue in the presidential race was the rising premiums in the Affordable Care Act. So the people of North Carolina just decided to vote the other way, regardless of who that candidate was.
Hello everyone and welcome to Collegian Wired, East Hollywood News. This is Election Central.
From the beginning of this election, I actually felt like it could be close. And it sure enough is living up to what I thought. It's very close at the moment, which is kind of scary.
Collegian editors anticipate a close race and prepare for either win.
I was really depressed. I felt like I was going through a grieving process, and it just kind of showed me how much of a bubble I live in, like a really liberal bubble that the rest of the country doesn't agree with.
I think it's really appropriate. Love him or hate him, everybody said he couldn't do it, and he did it. And he's continually exceeded expectations. Well, I don't know if exceeded is the right word. He's broken all the barriers that we put on him. Everybody who said he couldn't do it, like me, I said, there's no way he'll be president. And now he is.
So I say, first of all, let's give him a chance, and let's see what he does in the first 100 days. Let's see how much of his campaign promises he really tries to push through and really go for. And then, after that, if he is worse, yeah, we'll find some way to get him out. But then again, Donald Trump may be just what America needs.
I love our system better. I love our country better. And I love that the fact that we have a voice. And that is greater than any person or any party. And if the other side won, the other side won. And it's my duty to do whatever I can to support and ensure the success of our country, even if it is playing with the other side.